My name is Yusuf. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia originally. Grew up in Texas, then relocated back to Atlanta, Georgia. I'm 43 years old. Just was released about 8 months ago. Now I'm just starting my reentry, working, trying to get all the basic things set up, bank accounts, IDs, all of that stuff. So trying to get acclimated back into society, inshallah, and just get my routine, just get everything down, just start working towards my goals. So I grew up in a good family. Me, my mother, father, my younger sister, middle class. My parents, we went to church, but they weren't really super religious, but we did go to church sometimes, and they taught me morals and values and to believe in God and all of that. So I guess really when I got to high school age, around 15, started experimenting, smoking marijuana. I just figured out or thought to myself that, hey, if I sell marijuana, then all the marijuana that I smoke will be free, And so, it just kind of started out that type of a thing. As time went on, I had a friend who was selling crack cocaine, and he was showing me after school, I make $300-400 every day after school. And so that just kind of stuck in my mind. After I graduated, I attended junior college for a little while. And so I bumped back into that same friend from school, and he had this big, nice car and these clothes and all this stuff. And he was just telling me how successful he was selling drugs. And so he kind of brought me along with him and showed me what he does. And so I kind of was intrigued by this quick money, this quick, easy money. And so that's how I got involved in selling drugs. It led to me being arrested on several different occasions and getting probation. And once I violated my probation, that's what led up to my first incarceration. The first time I only did about 2 years. I was introduced to Islam during that first incarceration. I had heard about Islam because when I was younger in middle school, I remember reading the autobiography of Malcolm X, and I saw the movie. And so I was always intrigued about Islam and interested in Islam. But it wasn't my first incarceration in the county jail. There was a Muslim in the pod I was in. I would see him praying, and he stayed to himself. Then he gave me this book called The Elementary Teachings of Islam. I just started reading it, and me and him became close, and I started hanging out. And so I took my shahada with that brother there in the county jail. And then once I actually got to prison, I got with the Muslim community, started going to Jumu'ah, reading Quran. But in the state prison system there wasn't a lot of real learning. Everybody was just kind of reading this book or that book, or, just kind of reading the Quran and trying to interpret it for themselves. I got the basics there, and then I was released. So after I first accepted Islam, I felt something inside that was different. It felt natural to me, just the whole Aqidah or the belief system. Just reading the Quran myself and just the way the Quran is, it speaks to the heart. Now, with the understanding I have about the Quran is that with every word is Allah speaking. This is not somebody's writings. This is Allah speaking, so that's why it has that effect on it. So my first release, I remember getting on the Greyhound bus in Houston, headed back to Dallas where I lived. And I remember just thinking, now what? I really wasn't prepared. I really didn't have a plan. I just thought getting out was all I needed to do. So, but when I got out, my parents were very supportive, even though they're Christian. My mother used to drop me off at the masjid to pray. I used to go pray Maghrib at the masjid every day. I used to go to Jumu'ah on Fridays. They would drop me off. The masjid I was attending was mostly brothers that were Pakistani or Indian brothers, but there was a couple of African-American brothers they introduced me to. And one, his name was Ali. He was a cab driver. Me and him became kind of close, and he used to pick me up and take me to different events. I started going back to my old neighborhood, just kind of hanging around here and there. And before I knew it, I was back into the streets, back into the street life. And now that I look back, I really feel bad because that brother would call me and check on me. And a lot of time, over time, it got to where I'd see his call and I'd know where the place where I was at, I shouldn't be, or this thing I was doing, I shouldn't be doing. And I'd feel guilty, so I wouldn't even answer his calls. One thing led to another. You know, when you get into the dunya, you start getting into sin, the salat goes away, and after that, it's just downhill. So I moved back to Atlanta, Georgia, back in 2007, and I had got into an apprenticeship program to be an electrician. But this was around the time of the financial crisis, so a lot of the construction just went to a complete stop. So I wasn't able to really get a lot of the working hours that I need to get the apprenticeship. And so money was tight. You know, I had met a few people, and so I got back involved in selling drugs, this time selling heroin. So me and a guy, we just kind of got a little operation going, and for 2 or 3 years, you know, I was just doing that. So one thing led to another, and the DEA got involved in an investigation out of state, and with some people that we had contact with, and then so they started investigating us, and eventually they busted us for a conspiracy. I got arrested in 2012 by the DEA. When I got arrested then and I went to the detention center, I saw some Muslims there praying. I was talking to one of them, I was like, well, I'm Muslim, but I don't want to be a prison Muslim, so I'm just not gonna, you know, I was just out there doing all of this and that, and I don't feel like it's right for me to just, and no, he was like, no, brother. He was like, you know, Allah sent you here for a reason. Like, we were all sinning, but this is a chance for us to get back, get on our deen, get back. You know, you should come pray with us or whatever. And so I started praying with them brothers, and I told myself that, you know what, the only way that this whole cycle is going to stop, the only way that I'm not going to return to prison or end up dying, that I got to get serious about my deen. So I got involved with Tayba Foundation 2015, so I got transferred to a low-security institution in Jessup, Georgia. The imam there, he was a Tayba student, and his name's Tabari Zahir. Me and him became close immediately, you know, when I got there. The thing is, when you're seeking knowledge or you see somebody that has some knowledge and you want what they have. So I saw what he was doing. I saw how he was studying with Tayba, and I just asked him, and he introduced me to Tayba. I filled out the forms and immediately started studying. I took 2 courses at one time. I was so eager and excited, so I took 2 courses, and the first 2, it was Adab 101, which was Imam Maulud's Bir Walidain, and Fiqh 101, Maliki Fiqh 101, the Akhdari text. So those were the first 2 that I studied with Tayba. Studying with Tayba definitely had an impact on my character and the way I dealt with people in prison, because the way the courses are set up is you have the text, but then you have the commentary as well from the sheikh. In these commentaries, the sheikh will relate it to practical everyday living situations or whatever, so you're able to see how you apply the teachings or the text to your everyday life. So I definitely started trying to, you know, refine myself, refine my character just based on what I was studying. Things that I learned with Tayba, how it's affected me or how I'm applying it now. There's this situation just with, you know, I work a job, don't make a lot of money, but I've been focused on saving as much as I can. But my parents have been struggling financially. Almost half of the money that I've had was putting back to save, I've had to give to them to help them out. And even when sometimes inside I'm a little disappointed when I have to give up that wealth, but what I remember from just like Bir Walidain, giving the parents their rights, taking care of the parents, how much of the reward is going to come from Allah from doing that. That helps me really be happy to even be in a position to help them out like that. Since I've been released, I've had many struggles. Just the initial thing of trying to get ID, it's really hard, especially now with COVID. There's a lot of things are shut down, courts are shut down, things are slow. So I had been gone a while, so I had some suspensions on my driver's license. So I've been back and forth trying to contact the courts about getting that done, because one of my goals was to get my commercial driver's license, but you have to have a regular driver's license first to even do that. So, I had to work and save money to eventually just pay an attorney to represent me to even contact the courts, because can't go to the courts right now. So I had to spend money on that. Alhamdulillah, eventually I've gotten that taken care of. So now I'm on track to get my driver's license. Yeah, just at first it's really hard navigating the technology, the smartphone, figuring out how to apply for jobs online, figuring out how to send people emails, attachments to emails, and it's a lot of stuff all at one time. Because we have a plan. When I was like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And in your mind, it's like, it's going to all just be so easy, it's going to fall in place. But there's just so many unexpected obstacles that come. And it takes some support. It takes somebody else to be able to help you navigate that. A typical day for me is I'm up around 5:30 a.m. I'm getting ready for work. I pray Fajr with the brothers there at the halfway house, and shortly after that, I have to sign out of the halfway house at the front desk. And so when I leave out, I have to walk to the bus stop, which is a couple of blocks away. I walk there, catch the bus, and then from the bus, I catch a train, and then I catch another train. I catch a bus, 2 trains, and then once I get off of that train, I walk to catch a shuttle bus. The shuttle bus takes me a ways, and then I get off of the shuttle bus, and then I walk some more to my actual job. My morning commute to work is between an hour and a half and 2 hours, so it's walking, buses, and trains. When I get to work, I get to whatever destination it is that I'm scheduled to go to, I have to call the halfway house and let them know, hey, I've arrived at my destination. And then whenever I get ready to return, I have to call them and let them know that I'm on my way back. So I have a time that I have to be back and check in or scan in at the halfway house by that time, or get a disciplinary. And so they can give you escape, they can give you different disciplinaries that could result in you going back to prison. So my day is time management is very important. So my day and my time is so limited that everything's in a rush. Tayba has played a tremendous role in my reentry, because I've been able to reach out to them on different occasions. I'm still connected, so I watch the videos when the Sheikh goes live. I'm able to still get some learning just off of my smartphone, watching the live, talks from the Sheikhs. And even, when I first started working, my work schedule, I was working nights, and so I would get off and it'd be too late for the bus. They even have sent me money to catch Uber and get back and forth to work. That was a big help at first, till I was able to navigate the bus system and how I was going to get back and forth to work. That was a big help. First of all and foremost is to stay founded and stay on my deen. That the salat is automatic. Attending masjid is automatic. Reading Quran is automatic. It's part of my daily routine. That is my hope, first of all and foremost. And then, I have hopes as far as providing for my family, I want to start my own business, delivery business, and inshallah, even after that, get certification to be an English teacher. English is a second language teacher, and hopefully be able to travel overseas and teach English. So I have those goals, but I know that the foundation and the most important thing is my deen. Education, learning, the more you learn, I feel like the more I learn, the more I can apply, the more it increases and strengthens my iman. The stress of reentry on relationships, as far as like in my situation being in the halfway house, it's very hard when you have just a limited amount of freedom. My parents, they live out of state, so I don't get to see them. And even when they do come to town, it's just brief. So it's mostly through the phone. My fiance, she lives in another city, so it's still mostly on the phone. We're still trying to make plans, but even with making plans, you get to a certain point and that's all you can do because of the situation, because of me being in the halfway house. And, like I said before, when you're inside, you have these plans and these goals and you think everything's going to fall right in place. But even with my fiance, it's like a lot of things that now it's becoming a reality that, it's going to be hard. For us to do things, it's going to be a struggle. At first you think just getting out, that solves everything, but that's not the case. And then as far as being able to really connect with the communities outside in the masjids, it's really hard because of the halfway house, the limitations on your movement. With COVID, a lot of masjids are not even having Jumu'ah or, congregational salats. It's difficult, but there are brothers and there are brothers that have been supportive. Tayba and Imam Nadim Ali from the West End Community Masjid, he's been helping me out with bus pass. So there are definitely Muslims out there that are aware of the struggle and they're there to assist. What I would say to the donors and supporters of the Tayba Foundation, the first is thank you. Because Tayba has had such an impact on my life that I can't even explain it. Like I could talk for hours about that. And this was when I was in, just the books coming in, like the material that came to me free. Like I didn't have to pay anything, but all of this knowledge came to me. And that's because someone was willing to give up their wealth. And then just on my reentry, help with bus passes, help with Uber rides to get to work, and that was really big. Like that was a really big help. So for the people who've already donated, thank you, and the potential donors, that your donation to Tayba Foundation will be a big help to someone like myself, and the reward will be tremendous.